It's all in your hands. Unlock your potential with your dreams.
So, welcome everybody to another edition of My Thursday. It's a little after 6 p.m. here in California. We have a very special guest. Many of you have heard of this special guest. It's Dr. Ming Wang, and I'm going to give an introduction before I turn the floor over to him. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. And before we do that, Dr. Ming Wang is a Harvard and MIT graduate. He's an MD and a magna cum laude. He's one of the few laser eye surgeons in the world today who hold a doctorate degree in laser physics. He's performed over 55,000 procedures, including on over 4,000 doctors. The film Sight is based on Dr. Wang's autobiography From Darkness to Sight, co-starring Greg Kinnear. As a teenager, Ming suffered greatly in China and came to America with only $50, and he earned two doctorate degrees, one in laser physics and one in medicine, and graduated with the highest honors from Harvard Medical School and MIT. Amniotic Membrane Contact Lens, which is Dr. Wang's invention, and he holds two U.S. patents, has now been used by tens of thousands of eye doctors throughout the world, and millions of patients have had their eyesight restored. The Wang Foundation for Sight Restoration has helped patients from over 40 states in the United States and 55 countries, with all sight restoration surgeries performed free of charge. Dr. Wang was named the Kiwanis Nashvilleian of the Year for his lifetime dedication to help blind orphan children from around the world. So, without any further ado, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dr. Ming Wang.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening. On the West Coast, it's a little bit past 6 o'clock. On the East Coast, it's a little bit past 9 p.m. today. And I'm very grateful to Mark for the wonderful invitation. Mark is a coach, life quality, lifestyle, health, and wellness coach. And I'm also very grateful to Dr. Jing Liu and also Kathy for providing this wonderful opportunity for me to meet everyone, to share a little bit about my life's drive. My focus today is to share a little bit with you why. You know, we as human beings, we do things, what to do. We figure out how to do it. But more important than what and how is why we do it. So today I want to share a little bit about what drives me to work hard, what is my motivation, what is my why. And in the process, what we're going to do today is the first 30 minutes, I will do a presentation. You see some pictures, one video, and just the stories that my life has been so far. Then second 30 minutes or so, Mark and I will do some chat and Q&A and to really kind of talk about the why and many of the things I touch upon in the PPT presentation. In this Zoom process, if you have any question, feel free to put in the chat room your question. And Mark will make sure my contact information block will remain in the chat room all the time. So you can just take a picture of it. In fact, I would suggest you don't go ahead and take a picture of the little block in the chat room, which is my contact information, because I'm sure some of you may have questions, medical eye questions, etc. afterwards tonight, and you may want to reach out to me. So feel free to input the question in the chat room. At the end, if Mark and I have some time, he may just read some questions you put in the chat room to ask your question on your behalf. Okay, so here we go ahead and we start. I'm going to share my screen now. The title of my presentation, ladies and gentlemen, is Sight, a Purpose-Driven Life. And you can take a picture of the screen because it has my email address, website, and also, I used to have my WeChat, but my WeChat address is in the chat room right now. In the middle of the screen, you see the movie Sight, which Mark has seen, and we got a free link. So you take a picture of the screen, you know the free link. You can share with your family and the friends. The film Sight tells the story of Chinese American immigrant, which is me in this case, and our side foundation's work in helping blind orphan children around the world, and how in the process we have developed a wonderful technology called Amniotic Membrane Contact Lens, which has helped millions of patients. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I came from, and then I'm going to go through what drives me, what's my purpose for life. And I'm not at all perfect in achieving these purposes, but at least I'm trying to. That's the direction of my effort. I grew up in China during Cultural Revolution. As many of you know, that from 1966 to 1976, for 10 years, the government shut down all universities and colleges of entire China, and forcefully deported to some of the poorest part of the country and condemned every one of those high school graduates a lifetime of poverty and hard labor. So during this 10 years of Cultural Revolution, by shutting down all universities and colleges of entire China, they sent away to labor camp for life, for hard labor, 20 million young people. 1974, I was 14. I grew up in a city called Hangzhou. And I was 14, I studied really hard because I want to be a doctor. And however, when I finished my 9th grade at age 14, I was not allowed to go to high school. I got kicked out, and I was faced with this devastating fate of being sent away to labor camp, just like 20 million others. In order to avoid this devastating fate of being deported, I found out that if I could play a music instrument, in this case a Chinese violin, erhu, and also if I could dance, I could get into maybe the government song and dance troupe, therefore avoid being sent away to labor camp. But that did not work because government quickly recognized that I was playing a music instrument and learning dancing with an ulterior motive, really not for music or dancing, but try to avoid being sent away to labor camp. So they stopped my music and dancing learning. So I was going to be sent away to labor camp for sure. Right at that point, I got lucky. 1976 rolled around, Cultural Revolution ended. China reopened all of its colleges, first time in 10 years. I remember mom and dad came home one day. They said, you may be able to go back to school. I thought I'd never be able to hear that in my lifetime. I said, really? They said, well, maybe tomorrow. I said, since 3 years prior to that, I got thrown out of school after junior high, 9th grade. And I was 14 then. Now I was 17. Says, should I go back to 9th grade? My parents said, no, you jump straight ahead to 12th grade and compete against other 12th graders for their less than 1% chance of getting to college. Why less than 1%? Because there were 10-year backlog of high school graduates who graduated between 1966 and 76. They were not allowed to go to college. All of them came back in 1976 at the end of the Cultural Revolution to trying to go to college. So in 1976, it was the most difficult year to get into college in modern China history because there were 10 times more applicants. So I said, you want me to jump ahead overnight 3 years without having studied 10th, 11th, 12th virtually and compete against other 12th graders for their less than 1% chance getting to college? You guys are crazy. Mom and dad said, we're not crazy. They said, what if government shut down college again next year for another 10 years? So as you see in the film, that mom and dad really helped me, and I studied really, really hard. I got lucky. 1982, I got into University of Science and Technology, which is considered MIT of China, and I got into college. And in the film, you saw many scenes that how hard I studied. And I studied chemical physics and laser physics. And in 1982, as you saw in the film with 2 other guys, I got lucky, got a chance to come to America to study. I enrolled in University of Maryland and got a PhD program in laser physics, finished the postdoc at MIT. Then I thought, you know what? I always wanted to go to medical school in China when I was a kid, and I was not even allowed to go to high school during Cultural Revolution in China. Now I'm in a free country. I should be able to realize my dream. Not necessarily. I was actually discriminated against because I'm a Chinese by a professor in America here who said, it's hard to get into medical school, even for students who grew up here. You're from China, you didn't grow up here, you have no chance getting into medical school. So you see, in every circumstance, there are always possibility of people who is not going to give you a chance. There will be a possibility of people who do give you a chance. So it's all up to ourselves. Fortunately, I did not listen to him. I worked even harder. And I actually, after postdoc at MIT, I got into Harvard Medical School and MIT Joint MD program. And in 1991, I graduated. In appreciation to my parents, I invited them over and to show my appreciation to their having brought me up and their dedication to my education. So in fact, the film site was dedicated to my parents. The reason I got two doctoral degrees, one in medicine, one in laser physics, was because medicine is so technological driven. All surgeons have MD degrees, but most of them do not have the opportunity, as I had, to study in depth on the technology side, the laser technology. So that's why I got the second, two doctorate degrees, one in medicine, one in laser physics. I have performed over 55,000 laser vision corrections, including on over 4,000 doctors. And this is my joint MD, joint Harvard-MIT program graduation diploma. I actually met President Ronald Reagan in 1985 before he went to China. And so today, my topic is what's the purpose for my life? I've been trying to think and to do a better job with my life and trying to figure out more important what to do and how to do it is why I want to do it. I want to share with you today my purpose, not because I've done a good job necessarily, but because that is the goal that I'm striving towards. First, to share. I do believe that as human beings who are fortunate enough to walk on this planet for a few decades, we all each have the responsibility to share what we have with others. That's a purpose for my life. And to give you two examples of my work to share what I have with others. First example is, as I mentioned, that all doctors, eye surgeons, have MD degrees, but very few have the chance to study, got a second doctorate degree in laser physics, the technology side of medicine. So I decided to share. So I published 10 textbooks in eye surgery, focusing on the weak area of all surgeons today, which is technology, to share my in-depth knowledge in laser physics. Second example, share, have you seen the film Sight? I developed the Amniotic Membrane Contact Lens. A wonderful technology can restore eyesight in many patients, and I decided to share. I put my patents online and even went around the world over a 20-year period to about 50-some countries and free of charge taught over 10,000 eye doctors around the world how to use the technology. Today, as you see in the film Sight, amniotic membrane contact lens technology is now being used by tens of thousands of eye doctors in nearly every nation, and millions of patients have their eyesight restored. It has actually, amniotic membrane contact lens is a $5 billion industry today worldwide. Even though I did not make any money myself in the whole process, but I'm happy to see a technology that has literally transformed the world. And because I have met one of the goals I set myself to share what I have. Second goal, to remember. To remember our roots and to embrace the present and the future. You see, for Chinese Americans, we have a cultural roots here in the East. I mean, different parts of the United States, depending where you grew up, what's your ancestry, we all have our own cultural roots. As human being, I think it's my second purpose is I don't want to forget my roots. As an example of remembering my roots, remember I mentioned that I had to learn the Chinese violin erhu during Cultural Revolution to escape labor camp. Now erhu has become my hobby, and I use the instrument to showcase to people here in the West what the best the Chinese culture has to offer. So to share and to remember. The third purpose, there are 5 of them, the third purpose is to progress. I think each of us as human beings, we all have the responsibility to help progress the human knowledge so that we can all improve the quality of our lives. As you see in the film, that Kajol, 5 years old, an orphan, she was intentionally blinded by her own stepmother who poured sulfuric acid into her eyes when she was sleeping one night in an attempt to make Kajol a blind orphan child who then sing on the streets who will get more money from tourists. Kajol was maliciously blinded, then she was found that she could not sing. That's why she was abandoned in the train station. Our foundation found her there and brought her to America. The film's site is about Kajol's remarkable journey to try to come from darkness to light. So corneal blindness due to such trauma and infection is one of the leading causes of blindness worldwide. So this is Kajol's eye when I saw her for the first time. It's all scarred up blind. So I start doing my research. Do you know who does not scar? That should be the base of my research, right? How to figure out how to stop the scarring. An unborn child does not scar. But how can we do research on unborn child to figure out how to stop scarring to help our patients, but at the same time, without hurting the fetus life? Do science and faith have common ground? So that brings up the next purpose is to find. So after to share, to remember, and to progress, the number 4 purpose I have developed for myself is to find common ground in a very polarized world based on our shared humanity. Think about it. America, we're living one of the best nations on this planet, but our country is changing. We've become a nation which is increasingly polarized, divided. We're increasingly unable to work across political aisles, racial divides, and ethnic divisions. We have so much problems to solve in America today. Gun violence, opioid crisis, environmental disaster, racial tension, poverty, education, healthcare, jobs. But we're not solving these problems because we're so busy polarizing ourselves. So I think to be able to overcome our polarization and find a common ground is the most pressing issue of America and for that matter in the world. And that is my number 4 purpose as human being. I want to be a common ground seeker in a divided world. Common ground is not a compromise. Common ground is the seeking of the deeper truth. I even established a nonprofit organization called Common Ground Network with my pastor, Dr. Rice Brooks, and trying to study the methodology, how to help each other find the common ground. I summarized the methodology we have discovered, established into Common Ground Seeking Steps, STEPS. S, we got to be able to willing to see the common ground. When you meet someone who's different from you, are you willing to look for common ground? T, trading places. Instead of speaking the language of the speaker as we normally do as a human being, can we speak the language of the listener? And I learned that from being an eye doctor because, Mark, if I want to take care of your eyes, you are the number 1 authority on this 8 billion people planet about your eyes, because you're the only human being who are seeing through that pair of eyes of yours. So if I'm going to take care of your eyes, I have to see the world from your perspective. I have to listen to you, what you see, what you don't see, and I have to develop technologies to simulate what you see, what you don't see. So trading places or speaking language of listener is a skill that I've developed as an eye doctor. And we need to apply that in common ground seeking. The third is E, empathy. When we meet someone different, who is different political persuasion, different opinions, different religion, different ethnicity, what do we do as Americans today? We sometimes yelling and shouting and even demonizing the other side. But instead of doing that, can we try different approach? SALT, the SALT principle. First, start a conversation. A, ask a question. L, listen, and then and only then talk. This is from my pastor, Dr. Rice's books. And P, persevere, pay the price. If the right thing to do, there's a price to pay. And final S is putting to action, actually seek the common ground. Do you know who inspired us to formulate this common ground seeking steps, STPS? Is none other than Jesus Christ himself. You see, Christ is the perfect example for a common ground seeker. S, he saw the common ground with us as human beings. T, he traded places with us by becoming one of us. This is the ultimate trading places. He demonstrated empathy towards people in the lowest rung society. He paid the ultimate price by dying for our sin at the cross. And finally, he put into action. He sought the common ground. We even published a common ground Bible study. So using the common ground approach, coming back to the problem solving the scarring issue, recognizing a fetus does not scar, but how can we do research on fetus without hurting a baby? It does do science and faith at common ground. Through much praying, and I was working with other scientists, Dr. Shen and others, we recognized that perhaps we can use the amniotic membrane surrounding unborn child. Maybe the reason the unborn child, a fetus, can heal without scar is because this magic membrane, amniotic membrane. And we lose that membrane after we are born. That's why we start scarring or fibrosis. So I got lots of placentas donated to me by mothers after giving birth to children because the placenta is always discarded anyway. And through much research, I developed the amniotic membrane contact lens. When we put the amniotic membrane contact lens onto injured eyes, magic happened. Indeed, the scar is much reduced. Eyes start regenerating as if it was not born yet. And then I decided, as I mentioned earlier, that's one of the responsibilities for me. I set myself a purpose to share. And also as a Christian, I recognize that I did not invent the placenta or amniotic membrane. God did. As a scientist and Christian, I was just privileged to be given by God an opportunity to catch a little glimpse of part of his original creation. So credit goes to him. So that's the motivation behind my sharing with the rest of the world, my little invention, amniotic membrane contact lens. I put the patent online and went around the world over a 20-year period to 50-some countries and free of charge taught over 10,000 eye doctors how to use this technology. And today, as I mentioned earlier, this technology, amniotic membrane contact lens, is used now worldwide in nearly every nation, and millions of patients have their eyesight helped. And it's a $5 billion industry today. Even though I did not make any money myself in the process, I'm happy because I got to share what I have, but also as a Christian, I believe I did things that God wanted me to do, to share. As we get older, one of the things happen to us is dryness. You see, a 19-year-old has wet, supple skin. A 90-year-old have dry, scaly skin. So aging process is essentially a drying up process. So to combat aging, one of the key issues is dry eyes. This patient in her 70s had got chronic dry eyes, and she got this ulcer. It's painful. She couldn't see for years. She went to different medical centers, couldn't be helped. And she came to see us. We put the amniotic membrane contact lens on her. Now she's very happy. She can see and no pain. So you see, amniotic membrane contact lens technology shows not only is a wonderful technology that has transformed the world, helped so many people, but also it shows that God wants science and faith to work together. They do have common ground. Finally, before I talk about my number 5, the last purpose for my life, I want to tell you that I live in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. And we have an institute which has some of the best technologies because of my in-depth training in laser physics. This is my research paper published in the journal Nature. And also, I used to serve on the US FDA ophthalmic device panel, the first Chinese Americans to serve that post in history. And also we have an international surgeon training program here at One Vision Institute, Nashville, Tennessee. We're part of the IRI hospital system. We introduced the state's first all-laser LASIK, the state's first small incision laser. Do you know that LASIK surgery is going out of date? LASIK surgery is becoming obsolete. It's now being rapidly replaced by even better technology called SMILE, and we performed the first one in the state. And we also introduced the state first laser cataract surgery, and the world's first laser artificial cornea implantation, United States first index for advanced keratoconus, and also the state's first cross-linking for keratoconus, part of United States FDA clinical trial, and also skirt spacing to treat presbyopia, the aging eyes.
Mhm.
You see, it doesn't matter what age we are, we as human beings, unescapably, we suffer these 5 human eye prescription conditions: myopia or nearsightedness, hyperopia or farsightedness, astigmatism or football shape of your eye. That's what astigmatism is. Just means your eyeball does not shape like a basketball. Your eyeball shaped like a football, American football. That's what astigmatism is, causing distortions. Presbyopia, the reading difficulty after age 45, and cataract. In year 2025, I have great news to report to all of you. We have conquered all 5 human eye prescription conditions, including the number 4, the presbyopia, the aging eyes. Using what technology? Using these top 4 technologies. I suggest everyone to take a picture of this, because you may have questions to ask afterwards. On the top, you see every Tuesday, 6:45 Central Time, we conduct a educational Zoom. On the bottom, you see my email address. You can email me any question. On the screen, you see 4 technologies. Left upper corner, SMILE. That's a technology is making LASIK surgery obsolete. Lower left corner, implantable contact lens. If you wear contact lenses and you don't want to have to remove it at bedtime every night, I've got a technology, put the contact lens inside your eyes, so you never need to remove it. In the middle, for people like Mark and I were over age 45, we can actually fix our vision problem, distance and reading, including reading with this new technology called Forever Young lenses. This technology is interesting. In the middle, Forever Young lenses, one surgery can treat all 5 human eye conditions: nearsighted, farsighted, astigmatism, presbyopia, the old aging reading difficulty, and cataract. All 5 conditions can be treated all with one surgery in the middle for young lenses. On the right, cataract surgery can be performed with laser or blade. Now, here's the most interesting question. In America today, do you know what % of eye surgeons who are using these top 4 technologies, which are addressing all 5 human eye conditions? The answer will shock you. Only 5%. 95% of eye surgeons today are still not using these top 4 laser technology. They're still using some of those older blade technology, etc. Why is that? That is because medicine is so fast developing that, and most of the doctors are strong in medicine, but they don't have as in-depth training in technology. So it takes a while for all the doctors to catch up. And however, in contrast to the 5% utilization of the top technology showing here, at Wang Vision in Nashville, Tennessee, we're using top 4 technologies 100% of the time because of my extra training in laser physics. But as I said earlier, I want to share. So I published these textbooks on the technology aspect of laser eye surgery, and I've been teaching doctors ever since. I want to share what I have to improve their weak area, which is technology. Now, to summarize, as I mentioned, I have 4 purposes. Oh, by the way, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I have my share of star patients, Dolly Parton, Nicole Kidman, Ashley Judd, and others. And I have not forgotten, I came from China. So before COVID, I used to go back to China every year, free of charge, taught Chinese ophthalmologists how to improve the quality of eye care in China. I even performed China's first all-laser LASIK. Here in Nashville, Tennessee, One Vision Institute, we have patients from all over the United States, over 55 countries around the world. So to share what we have, to remember our roots, to progress human knowledge, and to find the common ground. The last of the 5 purposes I have set for myself to try to live a purposeful living is to help. To help those who need the most help. And that's the last of the 5 goals I set myself. That is why I established the foundation to help blind orphan children many years ago. This is a real Kajal. You saw Kajal, the 5-year-old Indian orphan who was intentionally blinded. And movies about her journey to try to come from darkness to light. This is the real person, real Kajal. Our foundation also help patients from all over the world. Remember I told you during Cultural Revolution I had to learn dancing to try to get into government song and dance troupe to avoid being sent away to labor camp for life, just like 20 million others. Now my dancing skill is helping my medical charity now. I developed the concept called the eyeball. It's a fundraising event. When you come to eyeball, you see the beautiful dancing that reminds you how precious our human eyesight is. Because without eyesight, we cannot see all the beautiful things in life. Therefore, how much we need to help those who have lost sight. So as I said, foundation help patients from all over the world. As a Chinese Americans, I was talking to Mark earlier that I recognize this is just as my country as anybody else. And America is an immigrant nation. We all have the responsibility to step out of our Chinese American circle into American mainstream society to contribute to America. That's why many years ago, I established Tennessee Immigrant and Minority Chamber of Commerce to help each other, African American, Latin Americans, Asian Americans, but also help America. Nearly every month, I'm in some church, in Sunday sermon, testimonial, give my favorite topic, which is science and faith do have common ground. In my belief, God wants them to work together. As Chinese Americans, we recognize we need to fight for our rights. Oh, this is a tremendous honor that I was giving the Nashvilling of the award, one person a year, first one in the southern city in Nashville in America, first Chinese American. I'm teaching here at local Christian university about faith and science. So in conclusion of this little presentation, I've been trying, still not doing a very good job yet, but I'm trying to do better, a purpose-driven life. More important than what we do as human beings and how we do it is why we do it. I have realized that science is a tool, but faith for me as a Christian, faith in Christ, give me a purpose, what I'm going to use the tools for. In my particular case is to help those blind orphan children. People ask me, why is it you want to do that? It's because that's God's calling to me. That's a purpose for the tools I use. So I have written this book. If you're interested in my autobiography about my journey for faith and freedom and also the foundation's work, and you're welcome to visit wangfoundation.com, hit the donate button, $25, we'll send you a book and all the proceeds go to the foundation so we can help more blind orphan children. And finally, I want to show a little 2-minute trailer of the movie Sight, which won the Best Picture winner at the ICVM International Christian Film Award. So turn up the volume of your computer now. Here's the 2-minute trailer, the movie Sight, which is the first generation Chinese American immigrant film in American mainstream media.
I'm going to help you see again.
You said it was impossible.
Ah, there he is, the good doctor.
You're going to be on the cover of the Tennessee Herald tomorrow morning. You may get a date out of this.
Not with that picture.
Very funny.
Our pro bono office got a call from India. A little girl, 6 years old.
Apparently, street beggars make more money if they're legitimately blind. So the stepmother poured sulfuric acid in each of her eyes.
I'm going to help you see again, Kajan.
Is it true that multiple doctors declared your patient irreversibly blind?
Yes, I developed this new breakthrough technology. Here we go. Do you see the light?
No. I can't see anything.
I have this patient from India. She reminds me of some things in the past that I can't get over.
The present is made possible by the past.
A long time ago back in China, there was an uprising in my hometown. Many bad things happened.
So we came to America.
Yes.
It's hard getting into medical school, but you coming from China, don't waste your time.
You cannot change the past, Ming. I feel like I'm stuck.
Hello, doctor. This is Maria.
We want to give her a chance to see again.
I don't even know if I can perform surgery anymore. I left you.
Stop it.
You need to just let go. I just don't want Maria to end up like Kajal.
Can only do our best. I'm with you, Ming. We can do this.
I refuse to believe there is no purpose.
I will be praying for you.
Kajal is teaching me that there's more to life than what you see. We have to keep going.
Thought you said it was impossible.
Can you see yourself, Maria?
I'm so pretty.
After 10 years of making this film, the film was rejected by all top 10 Hollywood film distributors, both digital and theatrical, citing, number one, they are not as interested in the Christian film, but also as a Chinese-American film, they believe without Kung Fu or ancient dynasty, no one wants to see. So it looks like the film will be buried, just like all other attempts by Chinese-Americans to tell our stories in the past. I decided to fight it. So I did something unprecedented in US history. As a subject of film, I brought the film around the United States. In 365 days, I brought a film free of charge to 40 states in America, conducted 500 free film shows to 50,000 people. And God answered our prayer in February 2024. Andrew Studios, which distribute Chosen, The Bible Story, Sound of Freedom, others decided to distribute this first Chinese-American mainstream film. And now the film was in the theaters last summer for 3 months, and actually US box office, domestic 7.2 million, did pretty well. And now it's in it's in streaming now, and this is a little free link. You can take a picture of the screen and you can watch the film to share with friends. The more people watch the film, more the foundation, the information of foundation will get spread around, and so our foundation will be able to help more blind orphan children. So by watching the film, you're helping our foundation, spreading the words about our work and also the technology we have, so we can help more people. The film site is also for our next generation, the second generation, to help them appreciate more what they have in America today. Finally, I just want to say that I do another thing. Mark, as I mentioned earlier, it's about helping us each other to health, wellness, more efficient in our job. I have based on 事半功倍, a Chinese verse about how to accomplish double in half the time. I have identified 77 pearls, how we can do things more efficiently as human beings, and combining the pearls and wisdom from East and West. So once a month, I conduct a Zoom. Next one's April 16th. So you can take a picture of the screen. And if you're interested in this little booklet, 事半功倍, which I have here, is a little booklet. You can finish reading of the whole book in just 10 minutes, and I'll be happy to mail it to you. So take a picture of the screen, send me an email, and tell me your mailing address, and I'll mail the 事半功倍 book to you. And welcome to April 16th, monthly 事半功倍 Zoom, to go over these 77 pearls. So in summary, I try to share with you what I've identified for myself, the purpose for my life. Number one, to share our knowledge with others. Number two, to remember our roots and embrace the future. Number three, to progress human knowledge and improve the quality of our lives. And number four, to find common ground based on the shared humanity in a divided world today. And number five, to help those who need help. To share, to remember, to progress, to find, and to help. If you ask me, what is the one singular inspiration, one singular why I have these 5 specific whys, the purpose for my life, and there's only one inspiration. I feel that I'm so lucky to be able to spend few decades as a human being on this planet. I want to do what I can as one human being, to do what I can to help the world, make the world a little better place to live. And that is my ultimate why. That is my purpose. Thank you.
So I know everybody has eye problems, and instead of us getting bombarded with individual eye problems, I know you have a call every week, right? It's every Wednesday.
Every Tuesday, we have a Zoom, 1 hour.
Right.
And it's on the screen that Mark has kindly copied. So that's my contact information. And next, every Tuesday, 6:45 Central Time. And so next one is March 25th. 1 hour, you learn the best technology addressing all of our problems. You're right, Mark, that all of us unescapably have these 5 conditions, right? Nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism, presbyopia, the age-related reading difficulty up close, and the cataract. And good news is that we can address all of them now, all of them. For example, nearsightedness, we can address with SMILE. The SMILE is new surgery, making LASIK surgery obsolete. And one of the questions you and I touched upon earlier is that, you know, you always want to find out with such a rapid technology development, how to do your homework as a potential patient, and how do you find out if the information you find as a patient is reliable or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great question that you asked early, and here's my answer. One cannot go up to your doctor and say, hey doc, are you any good? The answer will not be objective, but you owe it to yourself. Then one of the question people say that, does it make a difference which doctor performs surgery? Is it the same principle, right, of the surgery? What's the big deal difference between doctors performing the same surgery? My answer is that playing golf is the same principle. Throw a little round little ball into a little round little hole. So what's the big deal difference playing golf between you and Tiger Woods? Mm-hmm. Just everything we do as human beings depends what technology, who does it, and on what patient. There's just as much difference among doctors performing the same type of surgery as there are differences among golfers playing the same game of golf. It's a human endeavor, depends on training, knowledge, skill set, everybody's different. So here's the challenge. You want to have the best because it's for your eyes for the rest of your life. But how can you find out the information reliably? Since you cannot go up to the doctor and just ask, are you any good, doctor, right? So here's my suggestion. 3 suggestions. Recognizing not all doctors use the same technology, such as, for example, cataract surgery, only 5% are using laser. 95% still not using laser in America today. For every young lens surgery, the middle surgery for over 45, only 1% of US surgeons are using it. For SMILE, which is replacing LASIK now, only 5% are using it. So you see, you got to study and figure out what are these new technologies by coming to today's session or our Tuesday sessions every week to learn about what are these technologies. Now, so recognize they do make a difference. Educate yourself what are the technologies available. Second, who performed the surgery? Then here's the catch. Since you cannot ask the doctor directly, no one will tell them that, you know, they're terrible or something. So here's my suggestion. Ask your own doctor, your internal medical doctor, you know, cardiologist, you know, skin doctor. You say, doc, if you're going to do surgery, your eye surgery, where will you go? Because among doctors, there's a little bit more information about, among the doctor past information, who is a little bit better. We all recognize surgeries vastly differently depending on the doctors. And so ask your own doctor, you know, and there are also criteria. For example, check where did the doctor go to school? You know, I mean, there's a difference, you know, among the schools. Not that better school guarantee will be a good doctor, but at least help, you know, as one of the criteria, one of the check marks. And also, do the doctors perform research, you know, textbooks, articles up on the technology? But best way is to ask your own doctor, where would they go for their own eyes if they're going to have eye surgery? As I mentioned earlier, among the 55,000 laser vision correction I've done, over 4,000 other doctors. I'm very proud of the trust of many of my colleagues. So what technology? What doctor? Last criteria is what patient. Recognizing that just because you have the right technology, just because you have the right doctor, you may not be the right patient. The priority of eye surgery is not doing surgery. The priority is doing the right thing. And sometimes may not be surgery or may not be surgery right away. My criteria, Mark, is this. If I decide to do surgery for you, for example, Mark, I want to ask myself this question. If you my brother, would I recommend surgery? Because I live, my brother is attached to me for the rest of my life. We look back, I don't want to regret. So my criteria is that I'm going to treat every one of my patients as my own family member, ask myself this important question. If this were my brother, would I recommend surgery? Because I want, after I do say surgery on you, Mark, years later, look back. You say, man, you were honest, you put everything up front, and you told me everything. So I was prepared. You did not hide anything. No regret. That is because not all surgery is successful, right? Success rate is not 100%. All surgery has risks. And in my hand, the surgical success rate is not 100% either. It's 99.8%. So there are 0.2% of the people who are still wearing glasses afterwards. So it's important to recognize that surgery is not guaranteed. So in conclusion, how to find information reliably, your question early, Mark, is study what are the available technologies. Second, that's what technology. Second, what doctor, as your own medical doctor, where would they go for their own eyes? And number three is what patient. Be prepared. If you're not right patient, don't do surgery. Be safe, first and foremost.
Great tips for us to use in taking care of our own eyes. Now, your movie, I noticed, you talked a lot about how many free viewings and how hard you work to get the movie out so people can learn from it. So what was your personal goal then? I mean, most people make movies to make money, but you obviously didn't. What was your goal?
Two goals. One, I realized that God has blessed us with a wonderful technology, such as amniotic membrane contact lens. But just having the technology without bringing it to the bedside, to the actual patients, the technology means nothing. And a technology like that is help those, blind patients. And those patients has the least voice. And they are not heard. So I want to solve this bottleneck problem in medical care delivery. So one of the best way is to make a movie about those patients we're able to help and about the technology so that people will get to know about our foundation work, the technology can tell more people, so we can help more people. So that's why I said people even watching the film free link is free, but you're helping the foundation because you're spreading around our foundations, the words about foundation. All those cares, of course, are free of charge. So that's the first why. Second why of my making the film site is I'm a Chinese American, I'm an immigrant. I realized that many Chinese Americans, we are good in what we do. We always say Chinese, the proverb is we do what we say, but we're missing a second part. We need to also say what we do. We need to be more confident as a American citizen. We need to be more confident. We should be stepping out of a Chinese American circle into American mainstream society and contribute to America. This is just as much our country as anybody else. So I want to use the film to inspire my fellow Chinese Americans, Asian Americans, all immigrants and minorities to stand up, speak out, and tell our stories. Not that necessarily I've done the best job. I mean, there are many Chinese Americans have done far better job in their respective profession than what I have. But all Asian Americans are too quiet. So I want to change myself so I can inspire others to change themselves. So these are two goals. One is watching a film, you're helping foundation spreading the word. We can help more blind orphan children. Thank you. That's the goal number one, making the film site to spread the word about the foundation, the technology, amniotic membrane. And second is to inspire other Asian Americans, Chinese Americans, immigrants, minorities to stand up, speak out, and tell our stories, and be more bolder, to be more confident, to step out of our own social, cultural circle into American mainstream society and contribute to this country.
What challenges did you have to create this movie?
I think the biggest challenge is the Hollywood stereotyping of Chinese or American, Asian Americans. As I mentioned, after 10 years of making the film, this film was universally rejected by all top 10 film distributors here in America, both digital and theatrical, citing two reasons. One, as a Christian film, they're not as crazy about, they want more violent, sex, drug films, but also as a Chinese American films, they say without Kung Fu, no Americans will see it. That's why I decided to do something about it. I feel this is discrimination, this is stereotyping. And I decided to bring the film to my fellow Asian Americans, Chinese Americans around the United States. That's why I conducted a 365-day, one-year film tour, free of charge, brought the film to 40 states in America to give my fellow Asian Americans, Chinese Americans, and immigrant minorities a chance to express our concern, to let our voice being heard, and to inspire others to stand up to tell our stories. You see, sight is not just my story, it's also our story. So that effort, the national tour, God answered our prayer. And that's why Angie Studio stepped in February 2024 to decide the distribute the film. They were the 11th company, previous 10 all rejected. So that was the biggest challenge, to overcome Hollywood stereotype. You know, I hope for many years from now, when Asian American, Chinese American, immigrant minority films become more mainstream, people will remember many years ago, there was this crazy guy named Ming who took a whole year off and traveled around the country and brought the film to fellow, immigrant minorities, Asian Americans, Chinese Americans, and achieve some success, but at least help open the door a little bit for future Chinese Americans to tell our stories.
You're such a busy doctor. How hard was it to write this autobiography while you're so busy with patients and research and all those other things?
It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard because it was. I actually wrote another autobiography about 6 or 7 years prior to this one, all in Mandarin Chinese, and that one was a bit easier to write because my native language is Chinese. But then I decided I need to have a broader influence, just like telling our stories, not just to fellow Chinese Americans, but also to all Americans. So I decided to write the book, this time in English. And it was a lot harder than I anticipated. But in the process, I got the chance to improve my language skill, and I work with people who are professional in the space, get advice and help from that. So it's not easier to write autobiography not in your native language, indeed.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And getting back to the common ground theme, making the book and the movie in English and using the Western style production for the quality of your film, that's a great way to achieve common ground with Americans that aren't from a Chinese background that perhaps wouldn't know about your contributions and how you're really solving all kinds of eye issues for people, right? I'm sure they'd be amazed to know that.
Yes.
And how hard it was for you to go to American institutions, MIT and Harvard, and get accepted into those programs, right? And to do so well, really huge challenges.
Yeah. But I learned something, Mark, is interesting that I'm sharing with my 事半功倍 little booklet, 77 Pros, How to Do Things More Efficiently, is that there are always people around each of us all the time who are smarter, who are more efficient. So I've learned, even though my IQ probably is okay, not the highest, probably medium high, but I can always learn from people who are smarter than me at any point in my lifetime. Which I mean observing, writing it down, and emulating. So I've been doing that ever since I was 17. I have the good fortune of, attending these wonderful schools, Harvard, MIT, and Chinese University of Science and Technology, Maryland, and others. So I always watch the smarter kids. And now at work, I watch smarter colleagues. And I wrote it down, why they're doing better. And I got 77 of those pros, and I used it every day. I use about 5 to 10 of the 77 pros every day. And
Wow.
that's how I'm able to have done something in my life. Not because I'm naturally the smartest, but I'm perhaps one of the best students and observers.
Being observant and being curious.
Mhm.
That's a great quality. You know, if you always want to be learning, you have to be curious. When you see something you don't understand, don't just say, "Oh, I get the variable." It's like, no, what exactly makes that variable what it is? You know, open it up, learn about it, and that keeps your mind fresh, right? You're
Yes.
constantly adding to your base of knowledge.
They say life is in motion. You got to exercise. I want to add life is in motion, exercising, correct, but life is also in curiosity. Make sure you send the mailing address. So this little booklet will be a little present. You can finish reading the whole book in 10 minutes. And Shiban Gongbai. One question mark people ask me over the years, very interesting. This question, they ask me all the time, say, Ming, how many hours in a day do you have?
Yeah.
48 hours or something? My answer always surprised them. I always answer by this way. I say, well, sometimes I feel like I have 72, 96 hours in a day. They say, how come? I said, because I've learned from people who are smarter than me, those Shiban Gongbai pearls. There are 77 pearls in that little booklet, and I use on average about 5 to 10 a day myself. So by using these pearls, and then you say, why these pearls exist? Why using these pearl can be more efficient? Here's the reason why. Each of us, 90% is emotional, irrational, and inefficient. We may think we're logical human beings. No, we're emotional. 90% emotional. You know, sometimes I've done something, means people say, Ming, why'd you do that? I don't know why I did it, but I did do it because my emotional self drove myself to do it. So we are essentially irrational. Irrationality brings inefficiency. But then if the irrationality or inefficiency is unpredictable, then we cannot address it. However, our irrationality is not only, our behavior is not only irrational, therefore inefficient, emotional, but also predictable. We are predictably irrational beings. Because it's predictable, then I realized, you know what? Then it's not random error, it's a systematic error, so I can devise systematic solution to address a systematic error. Then you say, how much I can improve my efficiency by studying these 77 Shiban Gongbai pearls? The answer will shock you, up to 1,000%. Why? Because 90% is irrational, inefficient. So you convert that 90% into more logical, efficient, you are increasing your efficiency by 10 times. So I'll give you one example, predictable irrational. If something happened to me, you know, undesirable in life, I can blame on myself, I can blame on others. Do I behave statistically random, meaning 50% time I blame myself and 50% time I blame on others? No. My human nature dictates when something bad happens in my life, 90% of the time I blame on others. I am irrational, which is obvious, does not make sense. Depends on what causes, right? But 90% of the time I blame on others. And also I'm predictable because I'm not equal on both sides, 50-50 either way. So I'm predictable irrational. Predictably irrational. So human being is irrational, but it's predictable. That's why we can devise predictable systematic solutions. This little booklet, people get it, 77 Pro Shiban Gongbai, they say, oh, I know this, I know that. My point is that, yes, you do know that, but do you practice it? No. Most of us know these principles, but hardly anyone actually frequently practice it. And that's the point, practice it. And you literally will change it. Last night I gave a Shiban Gongbai Zoom, and today I got a text from a young banker, Aaron, and he said, in the morning business meeting this morning, I already used Pro number 2 and 6. He already applied it in the business meeting this morning. And he was very grateful because it made that business meeting a lot more successful and smooth. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Dr. Jing Liu. And thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. Look forward to meeting you someday.
Thank you. Thank you.
connected, it's hard to stand out. But I've got a secret that I'm about to shout. Building bridges and making friends, that's how the journey of success begins. Surround yourself with diverse minds, experts in their field, so wise. Together we'll conquer and achieve. Customize your growth, there's nothing you can't conceive. Build your network, reach for the stars. Professional advantage taking you far. Communication and leadership, it's all in your hands. Unlock your potential with your dream being spent. With diverse minds, experts in their field, so wise. Together we'll conquer and achieve.